Hello, welcome to Business Immigration Online. This presentation is about EB-1 priority worker, the first preference of the permanent immigration. Priority workers, in short EB-1, have three subcategories. The EB-1-1 extraordinary ability, EB-1-2 outstanding professors and researcher, and EB-1-3 multinational executives and manager. Between those subcategories, the preference is the same, so none is higher than the other. Um, all EB-1 categories do not require labor certification because for those reasons that we're going to see, and because they are priority, there is an assumption the interest in having them here is greater than the interest of U.S. workers to have the labor certification performed. Um, EB-1-1, the first of the three subcategories, does not require um, an employer and can be self-petitioned. EB-1-1 extraordinary ability is really an imperfect analogy to the O1A category that we saw. It's reserved for the small percentage of individuals who have risen to the very top of their fields of endeavor. This is a fairly high standard to satisfied at the best of circumstances, and especially when it is looked at the level of scrutiny for the EB-1-1, which is higher than the one we usually see at the O1A phase. Um, the person must demonstrate sustained national and international acclaim, um, and that the achievement have been recognized in the field through extensive documentation. Again, the extensive documentation is part of the requirement. So um, those petition you will see are fairly large by design. They have to be. There is no offer of employment required, as we just said, and there's a two-pronged review by USCIS under the Ninth Circuit decision in Kazarian. First, to see if the person actually hit on 3 out of the 10 or provided major award, and then if they meet that threshold, then there is a final merits hearing to see whether this person is indeed um, special enough to have to be designated as one with extraordinary abilities. This has a lot of discretion in it, and it's very hard sometimes to know what the person who will read the petition will determine. So um, one must be ready to address those issues if they want to pursue this category. What are the types of evidence? We've seen those in the O1A. I'm not gonna read them all, but basically you have to show a one-time achievement, which is usually the major internationally recognized award. We're talking Nobel Prize. We're talking basically the highest prize in any particular field of endeavor. You know, in mathematics, it might be the field medal. Um, and so on. Absent that major award, a person is still not out of luck if they can satisfy at least three from the enumerated criteria. And remember that here too, and you see it in the material, you can always submit other evidence and other criteria if they help to establish the fact that really the person um, has extraordinary abilities which are really distinguish them from the bulk of the population and making them one of the very few at the very top of their field. EB-1-2 outstanding professors and researchers. This category is in order for U.S. universities and research companies or other even commercial companies that have research departments big enough um, to bring here very good and very successful professors and researchers. So it has to be a person who's internationally recognized as outstanding in specific academic discipline. And this is proven usually by publication, by the impact on the field, um, and the amount of time the person is referred to in the professional literature of their field. The person must have at least 3 years of experience in teaching or in research, and must be coming to the US for a tenure track or a tenure position, or a comparable research position with certain organization. We said it can be even a commercial organization if they have sufficiently large and serious research department. And the offer of employment is a necessary component, but again, no labor certification is required. So wherever the employment offer is required, there is no self-petition. The evidence um, of international recognition of outstanding in the field must include at least two of the six items listed here. And again, here too, there is a merit decision whether, despite the person meeting two or more of these, whether they indeed are outstanding or not. The EB-1-3 is the multinational executive and manager, is similar in its condition, and again, it's not a perfect analogy to the L1A NIV. Uh, the 1 out of 3 years still exist, but it does not necessarily dying when if the person has already been here for 3 years on any other visa, L1 or any other visa, for the same employer, they can still benefit from the 1 year before they came to the US, not within the last three. So that's important to remember. Otherwise, it would make this category usable for a very short period of time for many multinational manager. Um, Remember that unlike L1A, that can be a managerial position here, but coming on the back of a specialized knowledge abroad, for this position, the both abroad and here, must be managerial or executive. And an offer of employment, again, is required, so there's no self-petition. It's very important to notice that here, uh, again, unlike the L1A, there is no part-time. Offer of employment for a green card must be for a full-time. Same for the professors and researchers, and same for the EB2 and EB3 categories that we're going to see in next week's presentation. So remember, there for permanent immigration, offer of employment generally has to be for a full time. L1A or any other L1 can be for part time, not so in the EB1-3.